Elon Musk is basically in charge of numerous government agencies now. Like, he's going to have control, or at least a tremendous amount more influence, direct influence over numerous government agencies, some of which are tasked with regulating his companies.
Exactly. And it's not just, don't look at it as him having control over this or that agency. It's the enormous impact that the wealthiest guy on earth, a very smart guy and a very dynamic, hardworking guy, what he's going to have over the totality of the government and the Trump administration. What does it mean? These guys do not believe in government. They aggressively believe in deregulation. They believe in more.
Bernie Sanders has always referred to Elon Musk as a smart guy. I saw his interview with Lex Friedman on this, off stream. He's always referred to Elon Musk as a smart guy and said that his inventions are impressive. I think that part of this might be because Bernie Sanders is kind of insulated from the 24/7 deluge of really embarrassing information we get about Elon. Like the every day he reveals himself to be genuinely like a massive retard. I think part of it is also because Bernie Sanders works very hard to carefully cultivate what criticisms he offers. One of the reasons he's so popular with right-wingers, like one of the reasons why they don't go after him, is because when he talks about the problems facing America, he keeps them very pointed and very specific with regard to like oligarchy and economic inequality, because that helps build out the larger tent. Whereas if he started saying like, well, also Elon Musk is a midwit, you would have people who might otherwise be on board with what he's saying going like, okay, I was on board with your economic critiques, but like, come on, man, Elon Musk, he made the Cybertruck. Whether or not this is effective, I don't know. It is effective for him, I think, if that makes any sense. Like, I think that it makes sense in the context of how he structures his arguments. You know, I'm not saying I don't think that's like broadly necessary.
An average worker in real inflation accounts for dollars not making a nickel more than he or she did 50 years ago. And during that period, a massive transfer of wealth, bottom 90% to the top 1%. And you're looking around you, and you're worried that your children may be in even worse financial shape than you are. They may never own a home of their own. You look at a government, you're hearing all the political bullshit that's out there. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And yet, maybe your job went to China. It's likely that you have a high deductible. You may not have any health insurance at all. Maybe your kid made it to college and he or she is deeply in debt. And you're saying...
I still think that one of the biggest turnarounds you're going to see against the right is when they inevitably break the Affordable Care Act. When they break that shit, genuinely, like there is, I do not know if any amount of media control from the right, like you can own all the mainstream media, all the independent media, you can own all of it. I genuinely don't know if it would be enough to make up for like tens of millions of people losing overnight, losing their health insurance.
Do you feel like this was a crisis in communication from the Democratic Party in the past election cycle that led to the defeat of Kamala Harris?
No, I don't. I don't think it's a question of communication. I think it's what the Democrats stand for. So, you know, it's not messaging is art. So if the Democrats believe, does the Democratic leadership believe that the current system is broken? You tell me. Have you heard that? People go around saying, look, there's something wrong when we have massive income and wealth inequality, when we're the only major country not to guarantee health care to all people, when you got 800,000 people sleeping out on the streets, when we have an opioid epidemic, when our public schools are failing.
Oh my God.
You know what? Guess what? The system ain't working. Do you hear Democrats say? You tell me. I mean, I'm sitting in the Beltway. I don't hear it. Do you hear it on the outside world?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, you have to imagine, and he's so strong for holding it back, how much contempt Bernie has in his heart for the DNC. Like, he, unironically, like the greatest will imaginable in holding back his hatred for that institution. I'm really hoping on the outset here, because we're coming up. I mean, not only do you have the DNC chair position, but like in the coming election, how we respond to the inevitable decay in public support for Republicans and for Donald Trump and for Elon Musk once the whole country starts getting broken by them. If there are any alternatives, you know, Bernie's probably going to get more aggressive over time.
We're spending twice as much per capita on healthcare 85 million people are uninsured or underinsured. Insurance costs are going up. The question there is our healthcare system broken or not? I think many Democrats are prepared to say, yeah, it's broken. We need a new system. We need to move toward Medicare for all. Are there some Democrats who are beginning to catch on that there is something wrong when they have lost a significant part of the white working class, now the Latino working class, some of the black working class? Are people beginning to catch on that maybe we've got to address some of the issues that are impacting the lives of working people? Yeah, I think some are enough. No, I don't think so.
We should get him to name names. We should get him to like go through every single Democratic representative and just like yes or no on whether they actually value the working class. That'd be good content, you know? Get like a tier list. That would be good. If Bernie makes it to like, I don't know, 306 or whatever, he's out of the Senate, we should get him a gigantic tier list board and go through at least all the Democratic senators that he's worked with, like shared a session with.
How do you feel about the Morena victory in Mexico, if you don't mind me asking? Because we did see AMLO was able to transfer power away from himself to a younger female candidate, Claudia Sheinbaum. So clearly, even in North America, there is an example of a social democratic party becoming even more popular in the aftermath of this election.
Look, it ain't complicated. If you do what your constituents want you to do, I want they're going to vote for you. I mean, it's kind of basic politics.
Liberals are dumbfounded by this concept. What do you mean that the support for Kamala Harris after Joe Biden dropped out wasn't built on the hope that she would create, you know, means-tested tax break for people buying their new homes, you know?
Every American, I don't give a damn what your political views are, should be really frightened that 3 multi-billionaires in the Republican Party could put hundreds of millions of dollars into Trump's campaign. Democrats also had many billionaires contributing. And if you think those guys are doing this out of the goodness of their hearts, you would be mistaken. Obviously, they want to elect candidates who will represent their interests. And the second thing related to kind of what you are saying, Hasan, is that people live in a certain world. One of the crises...
How much of what Bernie says here and in general is political showboating and how much of it is earnest? It's impossible to know the contents of another man's mind, but I would say, like, there is no one who could be less legitimately accused of showboating than Bernie Sanders. He's been saying the same shit literally for like half a set, like longer than I've been alive by far. Like literally the exact same talking points consistently the whole time. And he's always acted in a way that reflects a sincere belief in them. So, you know.
You gotta take on the lies and the greed of the fossil fuel industry. You have to do what the Green New Deal is about, create millions of good paying jobs in energy efficiency and sustainable energy, and we can do it. We can do it. And yes, what the Green New Deal was about is saying, look, that in itself is not going to solve the global climate crisis, but it'll give states and communities better resources in order to deal with the crises that are definitely going to come as we try to transform the system.
There's literally no way to make it through that without radical loss of social wealth, material infrastructure. I mean, we're pretty much headed to the bad times climate-wise, no matter what. For me, it's really just a matter of like how much before the excuses stop. Because we've had so many other breaking points in history, and there's one like continuous truth, no matter what, and it's that the elites will push until there's a breaking point, and then very quickly things change, and then you have a new paradigm, right? This happens over and over and over again. Oftentimes, the new paradigm is not better than the old one, mind you. I'm not saying it's necessarily an improvement. I'm just saying it's unsustainable, not just in a climate sense, but in like a sociological sense. You know? How long can Republicans continue to say, oh, that's because of like woke firefighters or whatever? Like, how many wildfires or natural disasters have to happen? You know, you have hurricanes in the southeast and wildfires all over the west coast. And eventually it's like, how much, like, will you be able to continue convincing your retard constituency over and over and over again, yeah, the reason why like 6 Category 5 hurricanes hit Florida this year is because FEMA is full of woke black people or something. It doesn't go forever. Like, there is an outer limit eventually.
you so much for coming on, Senator Sanders. Like I said, you're an incredibly impactful person for many people in my community. And I'm very fortunate that you wanted to come on, and hopefully, if I do come to Vermont, maybe we can have a much longer conversation as well.
You've balled well,
All right.
Atreides.
Thank you so much. Have a great one.
Cool.
That was a really nice interview. It's nice to be reminded that it is actually possible for a sitting U.S. senator to interact with a dirty live streamer. You know what I mean? Even if the Democrats pretend it's not possible and don't engage or reach out at all, it's nice to know that it's like theoretically possible.